And I say, give me one word that defines who you are. If looking over your entire life, the sum total of your life, what one word do you think that would describe you? In my life, it would be, I think, the word runner, because as far back as I can remember, I've been running. I'll be 77 in 6 days. Yay!
Woo! All right.
Woo, woo, woo. Anyway, uh, and so when I was a little bitty old boy, about 5 years old, Dad would wake me up early in the morning, and he'd say, "Time you go fetch in them cows and bring them back up." And they'd always be in the far corner of our big old farm, and I'd bring them in. He put me under a cow when I was 6 years old and says, "Start milking, boy. This is the way it's going to be the rest of your life." And in those days, maybe I'd miss the school bus 2 or 3 mornings out of every 5. And he'd say, "If you can't get your work done, you better start hightailing it, get the hoofing." And I would run almost 6 miles to school. I know it sounds as old as the hills, but it's the truth.
Wow.
And when I was 7 years old, I've had the opportunity, Chris, to tell more than probably 5 million kids just in this country. When I was 7, one morning, a little old rabbit ran across the barnyard, and I chased it for 5 hours and literally caught the rabbit. And that, I don't know, people just started talking about that. And then, is it okay if I kind of give you a chronology here just real quick? It's like throwing a rock across a pond and skipping, you know. When I was 12, and I'm from the backwoods of Kentucky, I'm from a place called Gobbler's Knob. And that's close to, in case you all geography experts there, it's close to Winesap, Wax, Pig, Snap, Lost Hope, No Hope, Little Hope, Zero, and Dog Creek, Bearwaller. And those are all real places. And so when I was 12, I was 4'9", and I weighed 70 pounds. Now, that's a problem when you got a daddy that's 6'4" and 240 and wanting you to be a basketball star. And he didn't understand about heredity. All he thought was I was stunted, so he gave me worm medicine along with these dogs. Every month, he'd poke a big old worm pill in my mouth. Wow. And but anyway, on that particular day in 1955, I wanted to run an 100-yard dash. And there wasn't any such thing as age groups. I was barefooted and had on a pair of overall breeches, and I knew I could run. And so I lined up with the adults and every other kind of person, I reckon. And I won the blue ribbon 100 yards later. And all of a sudden, people said, "You know, you sure are little, but them little legs, they sure can fly." And so, and one thing that I tell people, a success principle, because I didn't have the words, I just knew that I liked the feeling. I liked that feeling of accomplishment. But part of living, a key component of living a successful life, discover what you do well and do more of it. And so the psychologists tell us they call those markers, Chris. There's about 4 significant markers in your life that's been life-changing events, that's modeled your behavior. And as the mind flows, the body goes. And so, long story now, we're going to get down, and there wasn't any such thing as college prep or anything, but in 1961, I received a letter in the mail offering me a 1-semester partial probationary scholarship that was worth $60. And Robert Schuller, maybe some of you people out there have heard of him before, but he kept talking about possibility thinking. He stole my line. Shame on him. He stole my line because my mind was just filled with possibility thinking when I was offered that 1-semester partial probationary scholarship. And they offered me $60. And they had a cross-country team they were just starting. And quite frankly, as I would come to find out later, they figured I'd flunk out of college, but they'd had me long enough to be able to run for that 1 season. I'd be eligible. I showed the letter to my principal. Gospel truth, what I'm sharing with you. Of course, all of it's a gospel truth here. What I mean, that's like somebody saying, "I want to be honest about it." Oh, you haven't been honest before? Duh. But anyway, he said, "Let me tell you something, Stan Cottrell. You got to be smart to go to college." He said, "You're too dumb to go to college." He said, the only future you have in the world. Now, back in those days, 1961, I mean, Uncle Sam wants you, boy. And 2 weeks later, after you graduate from high school, Uncle Sam, unless you were sick, no, not even sick or lame, I mean, or lazy, that didn't exempt you from the draft.
Right.
And so I went to college, and he said, you're dumber than an outhouse rat. Now, I don't know if any of y'all know what outhouses are, but that's if you don't have plumbing in the house like we didn't have, and we had an outhouse down over the hillside there. Now, Chris, we were real fancy. We had 3 holes in our outhouse, but he said, you're dumber than an outhouse rat. And that was my career counseling. And, I've had the opportunity to share with cajillions of students. And even, it doesn't matter how many years it's crossed your brow, you need to hear this. Don't ever buy into the lie that somebody tells you aren't smart enough, you aren't pretty enough, you aren't this or that. And I tell, anytime I hear somebody say that you can't do this, you can't do that, I'm saying inside my mind, you get out of here, you demon from hell. You have no idea the size of the fight inside this dog. You have no idea of how I'm a 7'5", 350-pound male, all packaged in this little 5'7", 137-pound body. I am a walking, talking force of, honey, if you ain't idling at 75 miles an hour, you better get out of the way, because the concrete's a flying. And you might get upside the head. And if that ain't so, then grits ain't groceries, and they don't make moon pies up there in Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's the moon pie capital. I mean, where they make moon pies. But anyway, I went to college, and 5 years later, I graduated. Lordy, that boy graduated. And I held down 4 part-time jobs, and I worked at a carburetor factory at night from 10 at night to 7 in the morning, and 3 other part-time jobs. But anyway, how big is your dream? How much do you want it? How much do you want to accomplish? I've never ever been the kind of a person that was satisfied with being average, because if you think average, you're just as far from the top as you are the bottom. And I tell people all the time, don't ever be satisfied with a C. If a C is the best you could do, then be proud of that C. Okay, can I share a poem? Is that okay?
Floor is yours.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I like this. I memorized this when I was in the 10th grade. And did you tackle that trouble that came your way with a resolute heart and cheerful? Or did you hide your face from the light of day with a craven soul and fearful? Oh, a trouble is a ton, or a trouble is an ounce, or a trouble's what you make it. Be proud of your blackened eye. It's not the fact that you licked that counts, but it's how did you fight and why. And if you battled the best you could, if you played your part well, the critics will call it good. And the harder you're thrown, the higher you bounce. And death comes with a crawl, or it comes with a pounce. And whether it's slow or spry, it's not the fact that you're dead that counts, but it's how did you fight and why. And living is a dying process. And every day I'm wonderfully alive. I wake up in the morning, I'm jumping up and down the bed, and I'm hollering, squalling, screaming, yes, yes, yes. Because somebody told me not too long ago, they said, you're always talking about them miracles out there. I never have a miracle. I said, you woke up this morning, didn't you? I said, that's your first miracle of the day, because we're time travelers. Nobody has ever traveled today before today, ever. And they say that since the beginning of time, there's some awful smart people, or they did some fancy wild guessing to come up with this. They said since the beginning of recorded history, there's been about 135 billion people that now sleep beneath our feet. We're just a little bitty tiny handful of people that's walking this earth right now compared to those that sleep beneath our feet. And Lord have mercy, what would they think to wake up today and find everybody? We're just coming out of being sequestered over here in Georgia for the last, I guess, 35 or 40 days. And I think our governor's been making a little bit of a noise level out there on the USA scene.
Yes.
But anyway, but every day, I think bottom line, I think every person has a unique victory to give to the world. Each one of us, you look around, you walk down the street, every one of us, we're a divine original.
Very good. Can I ask you a couple of questions, Stan?
Yeah, please do.
I want to know, if there's any correlation between, good health, better health, and business. I mean, what is there a give and take? Do they go together? I mean, talk to me about that.
Doggone, that's good. And we didn't even rehearse that, did we?
No, sir.
Okay. Back in the 1970s, I was out here knocking on doors because trying to promote wellness. I was one of those early pioneers because I was promoting the fact that there is a definite correlation between physical fitness and fiscal, F-I-S-C-A-L, fiscal fitness. Healthier people make healthier employees, better employees, absenteeism goes down, your medications, the cost of medications drops. And Chris, as you and I shared the other day, I call it my 7.5 minute program, one way, walk 7.5 minutes, turn around and walk 7.5 minutes back. That's 15 minutes total. And I'm having can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
If you're having, say, 3 of these a day, cut it down to 2. If you're having 2, just cut it down to 1. And just little bitty common sense things. I was doing an analysis the other day. I was looking at a person's food chart because I had them take it a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday, or a Friday, because I wanted 1 weekend day and 2 regular days, and just to see what they had. And this person, I just want to lose some weight. I don't know how. Well, they were drinking a big old one of those. They go to Starbucks and get one of those big old, I don't know what they are, mocha coffee, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Well, one of those things has 500 calories in it. Well, 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. And 7 days a week is 3,500 calories, just that one cotton picking beverage. I said, look, you need this until you can find a more suitable substitute. I'm going to set this watch right here. Oh, hope it works just for a second. It's about to kill me because I can't have both hands to be throwing my arms around. That ain't going to work. Yeah, maybe that'll work. Because, can you see this okay? The analogy is, but I'll get over here. Yes.
Perfect.
You need, in other words, I don't advocate going cold turkey all of a sudden, but I said, look, walk 7.5 minutes out, 7.5 minutes back. I'm not going to ask you to go cold turkey on your mocha coffee or this and that, but let's cut it down to 5 times a week and cut out just 2, and wean yourself down. Well, the more you exercise, the healthier you get. The more you exercise, the more you're moving, and it's all about moving. And my theme of my run across the U.S. here coming up, starting July the 3rd, is Get Moving America. And I'm not, and this is not trying to capitalize upon the time, because Chris, this was in the plans. I've got all that a year ago, and we were working toward this particular time in 2020. Well, okay, so we're going to be waylaid. But I give a little talk sometimes called "Get Off Your Fatty Acids." We need to get off our fatty acids. We need to get up off our butts too. And these things that are attached to our hips, those are called legs. Legs. And just reach down there. Oh, baby. I mean, just reach down and and feel those muscles in your legs. That's a pretty good definition, Stan. Anyway, but they're designed to walk and move and swing one foot out in front of the other. And now swing the other foot out. Now keep going like that. Whee! Look at me, mama. I'm walking. And these legs are made for walking, and your medications are going to go down. 1 pound of fat, 1 extra pound of fat, you have a 3% loss of efficiency. It takes 3,500 feet of capillaries to nourish just 1 pound of fat. And one of the great killers in the United States is cardiovascular disease, hypertension, because do this sometimes. Take a straw, put it in your mouth, like that, get a good seal, and hold your nose and try to breathe through it. And all of a sudden, your face is going to get blue, and you're going to be a blue bloater, and because of the carbon dioxide building up in the, building up in the body, and because that's what's happening to the system. It takes a person that's 10 pounds overweight, that's 35,000 extra feet of capillaries. Folks, that's 7 extra miles. 7 extra miles that that heart is having to go to get that blood through there. And there's 9 words I'd like for you to remember. All training falls under one of 3 categories. I don't care how you tie yourself in a pretzel. I don't care. You see all these different things. You see all these little fluffs that are in the magazines, that all this kind of stuff, and Susie Hardbody and I don't know, Billy Hardbody or whatever, with all these big muscles. But the thing is, every exercise in the world falls under one of 3 categories: strength, stamina, flexibility. You need to do one of those 3 things in the course of a day: strength, stamina, flexibility. This doesn't mean you have to go to a doggone gym and sit down and push 500 pounds or try to kill yourself. But strength, stamina, flexibility, it's a coordination. Now, there's 6 other words. There's 9 words to be very instructive here. So now you've learned 3 words: strength, stamina, flexibility. Now the other 6 words: how well the body utilizes oxygen. Ba-dum-ba-bum. And it's all about cellular respiration. You have 76 trillion cells in your body. 76 trillion. And the average, like the average person, it's something like 65% of our population is overweight. 70% of people have bad eating habits, and they know all these things, but they don't know what to do, because so often in America, fitness is equated with, do I need to be eating celery sticks all the time? I don't eat celery sticks all the time. I don't go around with a carrot stuck in my mouth all the time. But good health is movement, moving. Woo! Look at this. Flow. All kind of different ranges of motion. You have the transverse, you have the sagittal, you have the frontal planes, you have abduction, adduction, and form and fitness and the different muscle groups, just moving. And then it's about getting the extra fat off and moving through these various planes. I knew a fellow that wrote a song to his bride, or it could have been a bride writing to her man, saying, honey, I want to see you. I want to see less of you so I can be seeing more of you.
We're all starting our 90-day run, and some of the ones that are not physically in the run are there mentally, and they're doing what they can to run alongside us. Everybody's included. There's about 247 of us in the group, and 17 people said yes, they want to be the ones in a specific group. And then the others are watching and cheering us on, but they're also running at their own pace. So is there, give us some advice on, 90 days is a long time for most people, and they're worried about schedules, they're worried about finishing, they're worried about comparing each other with everybody else. And I just want them to run their race, and not everybody can be an animal about it. And I want to hear from you to them on what that looks like. 90 days of continuous activity.
First of all, make a deal with yourself. I call it a covenant. Make a covenant with yourself. And in the American Heart Association, the American Medical Association, and I'm also certified in 3 different things with the American Council on Exercise. I'm a certified physical trainer. I'm a certified health coach. I'm also an behavior specialist, and also with Fitness Mentors, I'm a certified personal trainer. I don't know, and I have a master's degree in wellness and all that kind of stuff. So I know a little bit about this stuff, but fitness is so simple. 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 7.5 minutes out, 7.5 minutes back. Don't get out of breath. If you're out of breath, you're going too hard. Keep it conversational. Now you're talking about everybody's got a different pace. I agree, but just movement. You got cardiovascular activity, that blood gush. And okay, I feel pretty. I feel more air into my lungs. In the vast majority of people, you've got 6,000 milliliters of space in the lungs. Well, 1,200 of it's a dead space, but 4,800 milliliters of space, and the average person breathes a tidal volume, an average breath, 500 milliliters. Now, nature, the good Lord, has programmed you for about 3 or 4 times every hour you'll go, and you don't even really realize it, because it's the way of having to expand your cardiovascular activity. For brain activity, for neurological activity, every system in the body is enhanced. It pays dividends out of this world for you. It pays dividends, baby. And it's also stated that a 15-minute walk, conversational pace, leaves you with about 30-some hours of the hormones that are released in the body that prevents you from having a heart attack within that period of time. That's statistically projectable. And so all I'm saying is, Chris, I'll never forget, I live out here in a place in Atlanta. Some of y'all might have heard of it. It's called Stone Mountain. And this was back in the day that everybody went out. It was a big road race. Nobody ever went out just for a fitness run or an activity. It was a gunslinger. When I set the world record, everybody wanted to come out and try to prove themselves. Look at me, I outran Stan Cottrell. Well, come on, go with me sometime. Run across the United States. Run the Great Wall of China with me like I did. And run from Edinburgh, Scotland to the Rock of Gibraltar with me. 80 consecutive days, 52 miles a day for 80 consecutive days. Then we'll talk. See how you feel after that, dude. But anyway, but I go out and people say, I can't run with you. I said, there's no saying. You don't have to dance every dance to prove that you can dance. And so when I go with people, I let them set the pace. It's a happening. It's just a joyful experience. And you come back and your body is just, I feel pretty, I feel witty, I feel happy, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm ready to go bear hunting with the switch and give the bear the switch so it'll have a fighting chance. We don't want the Humane Society to get upset with me. But go for 15 minutes, 5 times a week. You've got it. I mean, it pays dividends. It pays dividends out of this world. And it's going to, that heart medicine you're on, that hypertensive medicine you're on, your hypertension is going to go down. Your cardiovascular is going to increase. That heart stroke volume is going to go. That blood, my resting pulse is like 35. My blood pressure is usually, right now I'm probably running 105 over probably 65, something like that. But that's come about with 250,000 miles of running. But every outing pays dividends. You're putting money into your emotional and physical health and wealth bank. And so,
okay, Dave, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I've heard all of that, but here's what I hear you saying. I can only say this from experience over the last 30-something days that I've been back on my feet, okay, and walking. I'm doing now about 1.8 miles a day, 6 days a week. And when I first started, I could only walk about half a lap and sit down, another half a lap and sit down. Extreme pain. Now I'm jumping out of bed. Is there any correlation between the exercise and what you're able to accomplish in business, as far as the feeling, the energy? Or is
absolutely.
How do they come together? You seem to have a lot of energy. I'm trying to understand.
Well, but the thing is, let's go from the nose up. And I mean, a person that's feeling better about themselves. I mean, I had some man the other day that was with me, and all day long, he was just this, and I got him over to the side, because 2 or more you praise, 1-on-1 you can confront. You don't take a person apart. But I said, I said, in a loving, kind, gentle way, your attitude stinks. And he said, what? I said, do you realize how you're coming across? I said, I said, the person I know is not like this. And I said, has your emotional car door been opened all night and your batteries run down or something? And you got to get yourself a good night's sleep. The exercise that helps to that. But I mean, you're feeling your attitude toward life, and your healthier people make better students. You're more perceptive. You're more on your game, and it's the subtleties. And there's a thing in psychology. It's called micromomentous expressions, and the subconscious is picking up at a subconscious level. Have you ever been in a room with somebody? I just don't like being around that person. I just feel awful. And what's happening is your subconscious is reading this, and all of a sudden, I mean, I've just been around people. I just don't like that person. I just don't feel good around that person. But it's the attitude. Your verbal language as well as your nonverbals are sending messages. We're either doing one of two things. People asked me, said, are you some kind of motivational speaker? I said, no, I'm not a motivational speaker. Are you into all that positive mental attitude stuff? I said, no, I'm not into any of that positive mental attitude stuff. And I said, whoever came up with the positive mental attitude, we ought to take them out, and if they're dead, we ought to find their bones and burn them. I said, what I'm involved in is a truthful mental attitude. The truth is the rain falls on the just as well as the unjust. We all are going to have our stresses. The important thing is that in my life, my stresses becoming distresses are less and less and less. And I think that has to do with the physical wellness that I enjoy in the training. I don't know. You go out and you put some time in and exercise and all that kind of stuff. All of a sudden that mountain doesn't look as impossible. That particular person that you might have had an issue with, it takes the stress off of you. And if you're going to make a difference in a person's life, people like to be around people that make them feel good. There's 4 little letters in the middle of everybody's forehead. It's MMFI. It's invisible, but it's make me feel important. And healthier people, we all are ambassadors. We all are sending a message. Our verbal, our nonverbal, and those little 15-minute walks that I'm talking about, it's going to make you more effective in the marketplace. You feel better about yourself, and it's contagious. I mean, it just passes on. And I mean, you're an attraction magnet. People want to be around you. I like that, Chris. He is a dude. Chris, you and I have known each other for, more than a decade now.
Yes, sir.
But, and ever so often we just reappear in each other's life, and I like you. I like you, Chris. You're good. You're a good man.
Thank you.
You're fun to be around. I'm going to start I like Chris fan club, I think.